Okay, so rightio, so we'll resume the meeting. Item 1.3, item is not on the agenda. I'm not aware of any. Is anyone else aware of any? There being none, we'll move on to the next one, which is conflict of interest. Does anybody have a conflict of interest in any of the upcoming items? There being none, we will move on to the next item, minutes for confirmation. And I'm happy to move that they're true and correct records.
Yep, I'll second.
Seconded by Dan. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
That's carried, thank you. The next item we will leave for later on, and we'll come to item 2.2, McGregor Bay Wetland Control Gates. Now we have in our order paper a comprehensive report from Alan. I'll just pass it over to you, Alan, and we'll just have a roundtable discussion. We'll come back to the resolution later on.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just a very brief introduction. So just so we're all clear, this report is intended really as a summary report of the current situation in relation to the gate, as we understand it from all of the different respective parties, as we're all aware, this issue has been going on for a long time, and basically this is intended to say, hey, this is where we're at. How do we want to actually move forward in dealing with this matter? The information that I've put in here, as I say, is very much a summary of our understanding of where the different perspectives on this issue actually sit at the moment, and is really just saying that the one area where we have some degree of clarity, but it's very informal at this stage, is actually in relation to the Regional Council, who obviously are the regulatory body in relation to this matter. So what I'm suggesting in here is very much that our next step really needs to be to get around the table with WRC to get a much more clarity and a much firmer position from WRC. Yeah, they have clearly said that they see two options. One is to apply for resource consent, or the other is to remove the gate. So I think we really don't have that in a formal written sense at this point in time. And as I mentioned in the report, the council has had some legal advice. WRC have had some legal advice, and they both offer quite different perspectives on the issue. So we need to meet with them and really work through all of that and get some very good clarity around it. And I think the other factor that's come into play today, and it's really good that we've got this on the agenda and that we've had a big response from our community. So there's a whole lot of information that's been tabled today. So clearly we need to sit down and look at the detail of all of that and take that into consideration as well, and ensure that in the discussions we have with WRC, plus any future discussions the community board has on the matter, that is included in our deliberations going forward. So just so we are clear, so that following the discussions with WRC, obviously we would then need to be reporting back to the community board. At that point, the report would be a much fuller, much more extensive report that actually deals with all of the issues that have been raised by all of the different parties who have an interest in it. So that's pretty much where we're at, really, Mr. Chairman. So that's why the suggested resolution, whilst there's a couple of other options, like getting on with the resource consent now or taking it out, I'm certainly not recommending that at this stage. I think we are nowhere near the point of being able to make that decision, but we need to consider all this information today, plus the ongoing dialogue with WRC, and report back on the outcomes of that.
Right. I'm happy to move the resolution.
As it stands.
As it stands.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, so the resolution as it stands is that the Coromandel-Colville Community Board receive the McGregor Bay Wetland Control Gate report dated 28th of April 21, and recommends to Council that formal discussions be entered into with Waikato Regional Council to discuss the issues raised in the legal opinions and take further action as may be directed by WRC, subject to consideration by Thames-Coromandel District Council advisors, and take no further action until such time as a meeting has been held with Waikato Regional Council. I'm happy with that, but what I am concerned about is that there is no finite date on when we can get to some decision and report back to the community, because there is a very strong feeling within the community on this subject. And can we put in there something like within the next 6 months, something like that? You report back to the community board within the next 6 months, just so that there's some kind of date on there. I hate open-ended things. Otherwise, with 30 years' time, we're still here.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, hopefully 6 months is way too much anyway. I certainly wouldn't anticipate it taking that long. I would be hopeful that we would come back certainly within the next couple of months. It will depend to some extent on the discussions with WRC, but I think we should have a fairly clear position from them following our discussions with them. So I would certainly hope that, if not the next community board meeting, certainly the one after, that we would be able to report back to you. And in fact, I can't give a commitment, we can at least report back on the status of where it's up, where we're up to by the meeting after next, if you wish.
I'm happy to accept that as an amendment to the.
Thank you.
So we're making what, 3 months?
Or just report back to the board's, is it July or August meeting? Will be the meeting after next.
Okay.
And then we can bring this to a head. The other question I had was, where does the shoreline management plan fit into this?
Good question. The shoreline management plan process is a much higher level strategic type process. So there's a number of other studies that council is doing around its coastline, around the whole of the district. So there's detailed work going on, and obviously this is one of them. So the work we're doing here and the outcome of this would be an input to the shoreline management plan process. So they would take this on board as part of the work that they're doing.
But not in the next 2 months.
No.
Yes, well, just in terms of the shoreline management plan, is that they're aware of all of this that's going on, and it is part of it. But like Alan says, it's part of the bigger picture.
So that plan can adapt to whatever decision the community board makes.
It's a work in progress constantly, anyway. So.
Okay. All right. Well, so with that amendment, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. And thank you all very much for your attendance, and it's been a valuable input to our decision-making process. Okay, thank you. And we'll adjourn for a cup of tea, eh?
Yep.
Crying.
Pardon?
You're crying.
I'm trying to dry my nose, my snuffed up nose. I got my rags up.
You said